Hello, people. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fine. Today, we will talk about past tenses. So, I will show you some past tenses and some examples how to use it. And at the end, we have an exercise to identify past tenses in a text. Okay, so let's go. First of all, past tense obviously you use to talk about something in the past. Okay, so we have here some examples. I met my wife in 1983. We went to Spain for our holidays. As you can see, we have uh, above me the flag of Spain. They got home very late last night. You can also talking about something that happened several times in the past. When I was a boy, I walked a mile to school every day. We swam a lot while we were on holiday. They always enjoy visiting their friends. Or something that was true for some time in the past. I lived abroad for 10 years. It means I don't live abroad anymore. He enjoying being a student, so he's not a student anymore, or he doesn't enjoy it anymore. She played a lot of tennis when she was younger. So it means that now she doesn't play tennis. We often use expressions with a go with the past simple or simple past. I met my wife a long time ago, so this is a structure that it's common in the past tense in English. But we also can do the interrogative and negative. We use did to make questions with the past simple. So to do questions with the simple past or past simple, we use did and the verb in the infinitive. So the structure is this. Did she play tennis when she was younger? Did you live abroad? When did you meet your wife? Where did you go for your holidays? And the interesting thing is that this is the uh, grammatically correct, I hate this word, grammatically proper structure. But there's other ways of making questions without using this structure in the informal English. But we'll be focusing the uh, proper structure, formal structure, I would say it better. But questions with who, the interrogative pronoun, often don't use did. Who discovered penicillin? Who wrote Crime and Punishment? And you can see above me is the picture of a writer named Fyodor Dostoevsky. He's a Russian writer, and he's the one who wrote Crime and Punishment, one famous book of him himself. We use didn't, is the contract form of did not, to make negatives with the past simple. So they didn't go to Spain this year. We didn't get home until very late last night. I didn't see you yesterday. So uh, did not sounds more formal and didn't sounds more informal. All right. So pay attention to the most important. Instead of think of right and wrong, think about formal and informal, because in language, right and wrong is never end discussion. But when we talk about past tenses, we have to pay attention to two types of verbs. The regular verbs, like we have here a list. Okay, to like, to want, need, miss, start, greet, travel, stop, fit, to plan, to cry. And regular verbs, when you talk about regular and irregular verbs, you are talking about um, the past form of those verbs. Okay, so in the regular verbs, the general rule is to add ed at the end of the verb. But pay attention, if you have a verb that its ends in e, you just need to add d. As the first example, to like, liked. But all the other ones, you see, to want, wanted, need, needed. And pay attention, another thing about regular verbs. When we are talking about regular verbs, the simple past and the past participle, they have the same form. So you see liked, liked, want, wanted. So regular verbs is easy to remind because you just remember the general rule. Add ed at the end of the verb. Because when we go to irregular verbs, the things got a little bit um, complicated, a little bit uh, confusing in sometimes. Because irregular verbs, we do not have a general rule. So, for example, you see the verb to be, the past is was and were, and the past participle is being. And then you have the other verbs here to begin, began, begun, catch, caught, caught. You see, they are equal. To come, came, and come. Uh, so, as you can see, there is not a general rule for irregular verbs. Uh, I think my tip for you is to make a list of 20 irregular verbs that you think you are going to use in your normal life, in your day. Um, for example, if you are not somebody related to the sea, it doesn't need to remember the verb to swim, for instance, because if you don't swim, why should you use this verb? Okay, so and then we have a list here, and this is my tip for you: make your own lists. And in the case of irregular verbs, is more memorizing the form. Okay, but another thing, there is a strategy for those ones who cannot remember the um, the form of the verb of the regular verb in the past. You use the word did before the verb, because if you use did, you give an idea of a past. For example, this is informal English, but it can be understood by the listener. You can say, I did spend all my money. An English speaker will understand that you are relating to the past because there's the word did. Okay? And here we have an exercise. We will use the song for the Beatles, All You Need Is Love, and identify the verbs in past tenses. So you have the lyrics here, and I ask you to pause the class here, try to find the past tenses and try to identify them. Okay, and then you come back to the class. So after come back to the class, you see we have some past tenses here: done, sung, made, saved, known, shown, meant. So uh, with this exercise, you can see the using of the verb in the past tense to be used in a proper way. All right, so this is for the class today. I hope to see you soon. Bye, people.